What's up, guys? Welcome to Everything Pickleball. So I'm excited to be talking about the 6-0 double black diamond. I chose this for my first paddle review because I believe it's in much need of an updated review. It's been a while. There are a ton of other paddle companies now. Everybody has a Gen 2 thermoform paddle. So with all the competition, I just thought it was a good time to circle back to one of the first ones that came out. 6-0 had to deal with all the growing pains of delamination, core crushing, and just not being able to meet demand. So they were out of stock. They were going for twice as much as they should on eBay. So it was just really interesting how they were able to survive all of that and then, still be making great paddles. So I wanted to answer some questions in this review. Is this still one of the best? How does it fit within your gameplay or your level of play? Should you be considering this paddle for your next paddle purchase? So hopefully I can answer some of those questions. They've made some minor changes to reduce and eliminate the core crushing. I had two of their early models, and both of those suffered from core crushing. So I can say that I haven't had any issues with the new models. I think they do play differently, so stick around for that. But I hope you guys enjoy the review. But before we get into that, I just briefly want to talk about what they did with this super cool rainbow colorway here. I just think they knocked it out of the park here. I love what they did. I know it cost $40 extra. They obviously had to do some additional work with the ink and other things involved. But beside that, is it going to make you play better? Is it going to turn you into a 5-0 player instantly overnight? No. But you're going to look cool out there on the courts. People are going to comment. You're going to have a paddle not everybody's going to have, and I think that's cool. So I hope other paddle companies do it. I want to see other paddle companies do it. 6-0, please make more. Do them with your Black Diamond power. Do it with future models. I really think it was a hit. And obviously some other people did too. They're paying over $300 for these things on eBay. It's super insane, but man, I did love it, and it made me really enjoy this paddle even more. Without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this video. I've worked super hard on this. It's taken me months to get this far. I don't know anything about cameras. This is my first time editing videos. All of this has been super fun. I've had a blast making these things, and I just can't wait for you guys to see them and for me to get more videos out there for you guys. This is a big hurdle for me being my first one. So please comment what you guys liked about this one so that I can build upon this techniques and the style that I did in this video and get better and better. But please enjoy. I got a sweet B-roll coming up. I wanted to give an upfront summary of what this paddle is. It has good pop, decent control, a big sweet spot, and a lot of spin. Coming in over 2,000 RPMs, you're going to be able to hit those low dipping drives. With a swing weight of only 114, you won't have a problem with fatigue. Quick flicks feel great with how much pop the paddle has. You can easily add lead tape to customize this paddle without slowing it down too much. The sweet spot makes this one of the most forgiving paddles, with off-center shots still finding their way over the net. Is it for everyone? No. The pop can be hard to control on blocks, resets, and drops, and you will pop the ball up, giving your opponents an easy put away. But with high spin combined with adequate power and a big sweet spot, this paddle is just a blast to play with. The paddle comes in 3 colors currently. It's listed for $180 on their website. Use the link in the description below with the coupon code EVERYTHINGPB. You can get this paddle for $162, which includes free shipping and a paddle cover. I want to go over how I play test paddles. I plan to play with each paddle for 2 weeks, each week consisting of 3 playing sessions ranging from 2 to 3 hours. I feel that this is enough time to get an accurate feel for the paddle. Week 1, the only thing I plan to change is the grip. Because I have big hands, I rip off the stock grip and replace it with the thicker grip. I then usually follow it up with 1 to 2 over grips. The thicker grip keeps me from gripping the paddle too tightly. Week 2, I will add lead tape to see if this changes the way the paddle feels. Sometimes adding lead tape can open up the sweet spot or make the paddle feel more stable by increasing the twist weight of the paddle. Not all paddles benefit from adding lead tape and can reduce the life of the paddle. To kick off this review, I want to talk about the break-in period for thermoform paddles. I do think all thermoform paddles have a break-in period due to the way they are constructed. You should give this paddle at least 2 weeks before deciding it isn't for you. It took me 6 playing sessions, and I do hit harder than the average player. A broken-in thermoform paddle will likely increase the sweet spot and soften over time. It's likely it won't feel as stiff as a new paddle, and this may take longer for the average player. If you demo this paddle, keep in mind that the demo paddle is likely already broken in, and it's going to feel a lot different than a new paddle would. Let's talk about how this paddle play tested for the 2 weeks I had it. The first night, straight out of packaging, what I disliked was the paddle felt very stiff for returns, my drops were inconsistent, resets were tough, and I struggled with my backhand cut shots. So what I liked the first night was my serves were effortless. I felt like it was easy to hit high, top spinning, deep serves. Drives when hit perfectly would dip well below the net. Dinks felt great. For some reason, the paddle did feel much softer when hitting those soft shots. And due to the pop, the paddle didn't struggle with flicks or putaways. For night 2 and 3, my opinion didn't change much. I was frustrated with my drops and resets. Taking balls out of the air was very challenging. It wasn't until night 4 till the paddle started feeling better. I was more confident with my dinks and drops. Off-center shots were still jarring. So after night 4, I decided to add lead tape. I added lead tape to the bottom corners of the paddle, and it was a total of about 0.03 ounces. At this point, the paddle was feeling a lot better. It was performing at its peak. By the 6th playing session, this paddle had been completely broken in. I started to enjoy this paddle as much as I did some of the first iterations. This is probably a good time to talk about delamination and core crushing that caused so many issues for its early paddles. I did crush 2 cores of early models, and I can't say for sure how this paddle has changed since the first iterations. But when I reached out to 6.0, I was told they had to add some reinforcement to eliminate the core crushing. So now that you've got to hear what it was like for me to play test this paddle for the past 2 weeks, I just wanted to give my final thoughts on this paddle and how it played and, would I recommend it? How does it hold up? What is the value still here? And for me, I still really love this paddle. I think a lot of people will love this paddle. I think it is a solid choice if you're thinking about going thermoformed. And for me, it's the shape. I love this mold. This is probably my favorite mold out of all the molds. I am a hybrid fanboy at this point. Like, I pretty much only play with hybrid models. I have a really strong overhead from the previous sports I used to play, which is volleyball. And for me, those hybrid shaped paddles just feel the best when you're swinging that hard. And, I don't feel as much drag when I use a hybrid shaped paddle. So I pretty much only use hybrid shaped paddles. Now, I've play tested a bunch, and I still have some other paddles that I love to talk about. But for now, I still think this is one of the best you can buy on the market. You get a lot for the $162, free shipping, paddle cover. You don't have to pay tax. I think, what it does well, it is going to benefit a lot of players. There are some negatives to just thermoform paddles in general. There's that break-in period. I really do think there's a break-in period. I do think you have to play with it 2 to 3 weeks before you realize if it's for you or not. They all, to me, soften up over time. And so, that 4th and 5th and 6th week, they're even going to get better. So just if you're thinking about a thermoform paddle, just keep that in mind. I think the 6.0 is definitely worth taking a look at for that price. There are cheaper ones out there. A lot of companies have made competition, but I know the build quality of 6.0. I've seen it in their ambassador program, just like Rhombus. They've tested it on the machine where they beat this paddle over 10,000 times, and there is no core crushing or corruption in the core after that test on the machine. So I know the changes they've made with the reinforcements has paid off, and I love to see that. And I know that I can recommend this paddle as being one of the top tier best paddles you can buy currently on the market. So I know that's a bold claim, but I really do feel that good about this paddle. Is it the paddle that I put in my bag? No, I have a paddle that has a little bit more control that I am going to be talking about next. That's going to be in my next review. And for me, I've only been playing less than a year, so I still need that control. I still want that control so I can learn more shots and play with different shots and still teach myself different things along the way. So sometimes the less control will hinder that for me, and I'll find myself in a rut, hitting the same shots because I know that paddle can do that really well, which is maybe just driving the ball a lot or just hitting the ball as hard as I can a lot. And it keeps me from learning different shots and moving the ball around and keeping my opponents on their toes. So for me, this isn't the right paddle, but I know this is the right paddle for a lot of players out there. This is exactly what they're looking for. So if you have any questions, please leave a comment. I'd be happy to answer them based on how I played with this paddle for a few weeks. I'm still going to keep it. I'm still going to play with it. It's just not my go-to for me. But I do have some rankings coming up next, and I appreciate you guys watching this video. Power and pop, 8.5 out of 10. This paddle leans into pop over power. The ball jumps off the paddle with overheads, punch volleys, and quick flicks. Control, 8 out of 10. Dinks feel great, but due to the amount of pop, you may struggle with resets and blocks. Spin, 9.5 out of 10. Even though I did not test the spin myself, I looked at all the data from the Pickleball Studio, and this paddle sits within the top 5% of all paddles. Sweet spot and forgiveness, 8.5 out of 10. To truly mishit this paddle, the ball has to catch part of the edge guard. Off-center shots still feel jarring and sound different. And that's a wrap. Please like, subscribe, and share. Up next is the Kiwi Lab Slice review. If you plan to buy this paddle or the Kiwi Slice, links are in the description below. Use everything PB at checkout, and as always, thanks for watching.